Okay, before we get into hacking web servers and all the other fun stuff that we have, let's just take a look at the basics. And if you're familiar with building websites and how the web works and DNS servers, mail servers, then you can go ahead and skip this video. But I feel like a lot of people, especially those in IT, don't often deal with web servers and building them and DNS, maybe internal DNS, but really it's the marketing or web developers that will handle this. So it's kind of a new concept. So let's go back to some of the basics and just walk through how we'd buy a domain name, how we'd set it up, how we get a web server working, etc., and the whole process, because I feel like that is new for a lot of people. Okay, so when your customers are on their laptops or desktops or mobile phones and they go and access your website or your company's website, let's pretend it's hackme.web, it's going to go out to the internet, it's going to request the information from a DNS server somewhere, and then the DNS server is going to have records that know what IP address or where to send different requests, whether it's you want to go to the website, then it's going to go to a web server. If you're trying to get to emails or send an email to example@hackmeweb.com, then it would need to go to G Suite or Intermedia or GoDaddy or wherever your email is being hosted. And likewise, if there was some app like app.hackme.web or ssh.hackme.web, the DNS records are going to point to the IP address or the server that's holding that information. Okay, so let's go from scratch and set that up. And let's first go and search hackmeweb.com, and we can see there's no results found. That website doesn't exist. http://hackmeweb.com. No one's purchased it. It doesn't really go anywhere. So level 3 is my underlying ISP. They've got DNS that's pointing me here and saying, well, we've searched it, we can't find it, we don't know, so we're just going to do a essentially it's probably like a Google search here, and it can't find that either. So let's go back and purchase it. Of course, I've found a coupon here to make it 99 cents. Hackme.com was my original search here in GoDaddy, and it was taken. You could easily search something else like Hack Us and find different domain names. So Hack American, Hack Us Life will give you some other options, but I kind of like Hack Me, and Hack Me Web sounds good. So I'm going to add this domain to my cart. Okay, I have availability. I'm going to continue. It's going to try and upsell me on tons of stuff here. No thanks, I don't want domain privacy. No thanks on creating email addresses. It's going to do a bunch of this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a second while I fill out this information. Okay, we went ahead and got this purchased. One thing I did want to let you know is that it will auto renew. So while I did get the discount here for 99 cents for this domain, it will renew at a much higher rate. So you may want to turn off auto renew if you're just doing this for a practice purpose. So I do want to go here now that we have that domain name, and I doubt it's ready, but let's try this. Let's go to hackmeweb.com. And there's nothing there. A lot of times GoDaddy will put this little splash page, and now they're advertising and making revenue off of you. But for some reason, this one just didn't go anywhere, which that's fine. Maybe they changed their policy, or maybe it hasn't been set up yet. But I want to go here and click on this Manage DNS, because if we go back to our diagram, we're going to purchase this hackme.web from some registrar, such as GoDaddy, like we just did. And now we need to set up DNS. Just for illustration though, I do want to use a different provider so you can see that all these different pieces can be the same provider or different providers. So let's go back here. I'm going to go to Manage DNS. Okay, and I have some DNS stuff that's here. It's parked to the domain name right now. That's probably where they're advertising. I've got my name servers, which are set up already at GoDaddy. And what else? Some CNAME and another CNAME up here that's just redirecting back. It's not really doing anything at the moment. So basically, hackmeweb.com and www.hackmeweb.com are going to go to the same parked location. Down here are my name servers, and this is what I do want to change. I want to change my name servers to, let's go back here into our diagram. I want to have this be Cloudflare. So I just quickly set up a Cloudflare account. I just asked for a email address and a password. Now I'm going to say hackmeweb.com. I want to add this site. And then it says, okay, you're querying DNS records. That's fine. I want the free account. Okay, this may take up to 60 seconds here. That was a lot faster. Okay, and it's saying these are the records that you already have. At this point, I'm just going to delete these because it does not matter. We're going to set up our own. These are the GoDaddy ones. Continue. It doesn't have to be Cloudflare or GoDaddy. I'm just using these as examples here. So not want that. DNS query results for scanning. I get that. Can we go? Doesn't seem too happy about that. Let me pause the video for a second and see what is wrong. Apparently clicking continue enough times actually worked. That was kind of strange. It might be a browser issue or something. But the point is here, we got through hackmeweb.com. It's saying that we need to modify the name server records here. So they gave us 2 name servers to use. So I'm going to copy this one, go back to GoDaddy, click change. We don't want the default. We want custom name servers. I'm going to pop that in there. I am going to, where is Cloudflare? There, I'm going to copy the second one, joe.ns.cloudflare, and these are sometimes random. Go back over here, copy that in, press save. We always want at least 2 name servers. Okay, and so those have been updated. And now it doesn't matter what's over here in the name server on GoDaddy because it's not controlling it anymore. It's not controlling it for the domain name. So now when you go to hackmeweb.com, it's going to ask essentially GoDaddy or the registrar, which is GoDaddy in this case, who's the name server. And then that's going to say, well, ed.ns.cloudflare.com is the first one, and then joe.ns.cloudflare.com is the second name server. So then the request is going to pop over here, and then it's going to look in the DNS records, which in our diagram is right here, and we need to specify where www.hackme.web, and there's actually one more here, just hackmeweb.com. Where does that go? All these different domain names that you might type in, what IP address does that translate to? So let's go back here. I doubt it's ready yet. I'm going to press recheck. This used to take at least 24, 48 hours. Nowadays, it's very, very quick to verify. So it looks like it did verify that. This website's active on Cloudflare. Let's go over to the DNS tab here. And we don't have anything set up. So the first one I want to do on our diagram here is hackmeweb.com. Where do we want that to go to? And before we start filling this out, we need to set up a web server, right? Because if these requests come in and we go to hackmeweb.com, it has to go to some IP address, and same for www.hackmeweb.com. Where's that going to go? There has to be some physical or virtual server somewhere in the world that we can point that to. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to make this web server a Amazon light sale. So I already created a Amazon account. I'm going to go ahead and drop down to the services here under compute. It is, where is light sale? Right there. You could do EC2, you could do DigitalOcean, it doesn't really matter where. Again, this is just an illustration. So I'm going to say get instance. I like, where is it? Let's just do the OS. I like Ubuntu, so let's click on Ubuntu. What else we want to do here? And this is where you could pick packages. So you could have like Ubuntu with WordPress or other things that are already set up, which is kind of nice if you're new to Linux. You don't have to do all this. Anything else I want to do here? Launch a script. No. Default key pair. No, it's fine. You can see the prices down here. It's going to be about $5 a month for this. Where do we want this to, or what do we want to call this? Let's do web server example 1. I want to set up just one instance. I don't want to have 5 or 10 web servers. I'm going to click create. Okay, it's very, very fast here. We'll give it a couple of seconds, and I'm going to pause the video for that. Okay, and that took about 60 seconds or so. It was pretty darn quick there, and so it says that we're ready to go. And it did give us an IP address here. So we can, let's show another example here. So before, I'm just going to copy this. Clip, copy. I'm going to go over to a web browser, another tab, Hack Me Web, and it says can't find the resources. It's not there. Okay, I can try. Let's get rid of this thing and add it on at the end. www. It's not there. There's nothing there, right? Because we haven't set those records up. So I'm going to go back to our diagram first. We want, when you go to hackmeweb.com, we want to go to this IP address. Oops, it's not letting me cut there or paste. Back, where were we? Light sale. Okay, so this IP address, copy, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so now when you go to hackmeweb.com, we really want it to point to this address, which is the server down here. And let's go back to the light sale. I'm going to click on this little terminal window thing. And if we have other options here, we could do manage, stop, restart, connect. It's going to open up another window. We're going to connect to our instance. Okay. And we're already logged in. Okay, now let us, the place that when we set up a web server here, the default location Ubuntu is going to be var www html. So let's cd into that. Var www. Maybe we have to install Apache first here. So let's do an apt-get update. Sudo apt-get. Can't type that. Come on, dash. apt-get. Wow, I cannot get that dash in there. apt-get. I'm going to do attack Y for yes. That way it doesn't ask me, and update. Okay, I'm going to pause the video while we do some updates here. It seems like right when I pause the video is always when it's done here. So that was pretty quick. Only took a couple of seconds. Let's do sudo apt-get install Y for yes, and then Apache 2. Okay, so we're just getting the Apache web server. And that time I did not pause the video, and it was pretty quick. So let's see if that created that directory there. So cd var www. It did. Look at that. Okay, so now this is where we are going to put all of our web server files, our HTML code, our PHP, whatever we're going to do here. In this case, we're just going to do HTML code. And you can see it already put an index.html in there. So I'm going to go back, copy this IP address again of our web server, open another tab, paste that in, and this is what's going to come up here. So obviously we don't want this to display. We want our own website, so we want to change this. So let's go back over to our window here. And I'm going to rename that. So I'm going to do a move index.html. We're going to call it index.html.old. Okay, oops, sudo that. Okay, and that's now called old. So now I want to create my own. So I'm going to do a sudo nano index.html. And HTML tag here. Finish this off with a closing HTML, and h1, which is going to be a giant header here, h1, and hello class. Control X, Y, enter. ls. There's our index.html, right? And go back over here, refresh. Hello class. Okay, so this is going to be our website. Very simple website, obviously. And I want this IP address to, when we go to hackmeweb.com, I want it to go to this site. So now we have to go back over to our DNS. We have to add a record here. So we're going to have it be the A record, or the @ sign, which is basically saying when you go to hackmeweb.com, we want that to go to the IP address of our web server here. I'm going to keep our TTL very low. In production, you wouldn't want this, but the time to live, we want it to be very low in the beginning. I'm also going to uncheck this here, this Cloudflare proxy, because I want to see everything that happens. In the real world, I might want to disguise my web server so people don't see where it is or what the IP address is. So I'm going to add that. And now when you go to HackMeWeb, you saw that change from the @ sign to hackmeweb.com, and it's going to point to the IP address of our web server. Now I'm going to do www. I think I don't need the dot there. And then the IP address. I'm going to add that. Oops, I did the automatic. Let's fix that. Uncheck there. And I'm also going to do example. All right, we can do as many of these as we want. There's not really a limit here per se. Uncheck that. Add record. All right, so hackmeweb.com, www.hackmeweb.com, example.hackmeweb.com. All of those are going to point to the same web server there. right? We can even do example 2. And in this case, we can do a CNAME, and that points to, no, you know what? Let's keep this simple. Forget I said that. Go back there. We're just going to keep it simple with these A records first. So again, back in the day, this is 24, 48 hours. You do this on a Friday night. Nowadays, it's probably already done. So let's go back over here, refresh first, hackmeweb.com. There it is. Hello, class. Let's do www.hackmeweb.com. Same thing. Let's do example.hackmeweb.com. Goes to the same place, right? So now back over here, let's do another one. Example.hackmeweb.com points to that. Let's make this a little bigger, right? So we've set those up so far. Move that up a little bit for you right here. Okay. So now we have the MX records. I'm not going to really set these up, but if we want to set up an email server so we can receive email, that is our MX records here. And we'd add that information in there as well. What else do we have here? Close this down. Okay, so we've set that up. Let's also do another, you know what, I'm going to set up another Lightsail instance just to show you the example of a different one here. So let's create another instance here. In this case, why not WordPress? Back here, WordPress, $5 a month, okay. WordPress example 1, get that set up. Okay, and it already gave us the IP address, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going. If I can copy it. Back in our diagram. So we're going to call this our app server. Has a different IP address we can see. And back to our DNS. Let's get that set up as well here. So we're going to call it app. Oops. MX. Sorry, didn't switch that. Back to the A record. App server, it's going to go to that IP address, add that. Okay, so we can see that now when we go to app.example.com, it's going to go to that IP address, which is the new Lightsail instance that we've created here. Login failed. Okay, let's give it a second. Connecting. Oh, maybe because I already have this window open. Let me close that. No, still not working there. It might take a couple of seconds to get set up, but let's see what happens while this is getting set up if we go to app.hackme. Nothing. It seems like it's a little bit stuck here. Let me refresh. So running. It says it's running, but we're having a problem there. This instance has just started up. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and give it a couple of seconds to do its thing here. Okay, and so that WordPress one, the instance, it took maybe 2 minutes, whereas the other one took 30 or 60 seconds. So it might have been a little more overhead for the additional services to get started up compared to just the vanilla Ubuntu instance. But now if we go ahead and click here, we're connected. Okay, it says it's got WordPress installed, all that great stuff. Let's go back and refresh here, which I already did. So app.hackme.web, it's now going to this WordPress page where there's a bunch of content and whatever we want to configure. And so if we go over here, w-admin, okay, we can log in and create our application there. So now we have, going back to our diagram, we have set up, I'm going to change that to green. Okay, so we've set up that. And we set up our application server. We set up our DNS here. So all that is set up, and that's essentially how you do that. And we can have, it's not limited to 3 different servers here. We could have them all be one server, many different servers. There's many, many options here. And so the only reason I'm not setting up the email servers, there's a bit to it and some propagation time, but really you can go on over to Intermedia or GoDaddy or G Suite or any other provider and set up your email. And then all you would do is go back to your Cloudflare, change this to an MX record, and type in whatever they gave you. Where's our MX record? There it is. The information they gave you there. And now you can start receiving emails at hackmeweb.com. So I hope that helped give a background of how the web works. And in the next video, I'll probably do a couple security settings and configurations so you have an idea of how things work. All right, so that is it. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.